Hello everybody, it's Citadelum on the PC, and I'm always a fan of a good simulator when it's Zeus, themes, parks, farms, city building. When the Roman city builder Citadelum was brought to my attention, I know I had to jump in, and I'm so glad I did. Citadelum was brought to my attention. I knew I had to jump in, and you know, it's a blended strategy simulation and a style to create an addictive experience that I can't seem to put it down. Well, Citadelum is what happens when you blend SimCity with the Age of Mythology and then round the things up to 11. The game takes place in Rome and you need to build a functional city for your people. However, what is deemed functional varies as your town evolves and your residents demands more and more and more and more. What I thought was going to be a peaceful sim game turned into a little ball of chaos when things like armies and angry gods come into play, but more of that later. As Citadelum begins, players focus on building homes for working-class citizens known as plebeians. The first essential structure to build is a forum, and everything in your new city must connect to it in some way. As a musical thread nerd, I couldn't help but mutter. A funny thing happened on the way to the forum. Every time I started a new build, from there, players must provide basic necessities for the damn townspeople, such as fire station, engineer posts, iron mines, stone quarries, and lodging camps. From there, your city will start to grow and will need to expand. Patrician housing is needed to bring in elite residents who pay taxes and allow you to expand your plebeians. These people are a bit harder to please and require more elaborate corps, entertainment, and more as time goes on. There is a balance you need to strike between expanding both kinds of housing. Plebeians also need to work in Citadelum, otherwise those without jobs will start resorting to crime and bring down something called people's flavor. This is where you can see the overall happiness of your city and the things like crime, homelessness, housing needs, health, working wages, patrician taxes, and the gladiators. Races will affect this. Yes, you hear me, they are gladiators. Every time you expand into a new kind of need like health or environment, you'll need more plebeians to work, money and resources to build it, and a space to put it where will have the biggest effect on your residents. All of the buildings have radius of what they affect. Mines and other similar buildings will bring down desirability. Fire stations only count buildings within their reach. Even buildings like granaries and warehouses can only house items within their areas. All of these things are something to consider when you need to expand your cities, but in truth, if you aren't thinking about them from the moment you lay down your forum, will start running into the issues. Citadelum really makes you think about what's going to build in the city, whatever this is decoration, types of food, basic needs and more. It goes a step further to break down each step as well. Throughout in something like a roller coaster Tucson, you can just play to build what you want. Citadelum requires you to start at the base of each issue, like farming resources. These are very similar mechanics to something like Cities Skylines 2, but Citadelum goes above and beyond, weaving in the war mechanics and the breadth of the flavor of the various gods to spice the things up. This is where my compassion to making like Age of Mythology comes into play. Eventually you need to explore, build an army, develop trade routes, and defend your city. These mechanics go a few levels deep in Citadelum as well. If you want to build recruit barracks, to build your army, you will need to make sure that you have everything that army needs to succeed. That means you need bow workshops, swordsmiths, armor workshops, and shield workshops. You also need training areas to develop a well-rounded army that includes archers, guards, centurions, and more. But wait, there is more. If you aren't farming the right resources to train those people like meat, wheat, fish, and ore, then you can train your army. The intricacies of development in Citadelum are several levels deep and they always keep you on your toes. There are 6 gods to keep happy as well, and each of them has different requirements to keep them satisfied. Some require wine or corpse, and you can even sacrifice animals or villagers in their honor. If you don't meet their needs for too long, they will come down to your city and wreak havoc. Keep them pleased, however, and you can bring them down to bless your farms, residents, and more. There is a lot going in the Citadelum, And I certainly liked some aspects more than the others. In terms of gods, I could get behind needing to choose one of the keep them happy, maybe even one or two, but later in the game, you need to keep all 6 happy. And this requires more and more and more and more templates as time goes on. Even for 2, each god has 12 temples, and those are needed pretty early in the game progression once they unlock. As I mentioned previously, each building only affects a certain radius, and keeping these spaces out but still reaching a city felt impossible. Sometimes I wish most city builders was like that, but considering its building radius shouldn't have to be a perfect rectangle around the building. And it wouldn't be nice, it would be nice to customize the cover, not necessarily in size but in direction. It will make for some much nicer layouts, that's for sure. I also feel like the combat in Citadelum is a bit of an afterthought. It sits in a different window that I often forget about. Even throughout our subtitles reminders on the screens when something happens, these feel like just a way to include more to manage to means to create one road. The battles are fine, but ultimately the weakest part of the Citadelum. I was shocked to see blood and gore when they finally taken part in battle, which isn't a bad thing. I was genuinely impressed with the visuals in Citadelum. The soldiers rushing into the battle was fun to watch, albeit a bit messy. When I zoom into the outskirts of my city, trees and grasses are detailed and blowing in the wind. I found myself zooming as far as I could to watch my workers run around with the wheelbarrows, delivering from the market on bringing items to the warehouses. Even checking out the inside of the homes as they progressed and developed was a lot of fun. Citadelum really puts detail into each world you create. There is also a progression to the story in the Citadelum that allows you to make certain goals and more on the next map. Wherever the game walks you throughout new mechanics, you can just choose any map you want instead. However, a continuing map, you have met the requirements of you rather see your world continuing to develop. Each map has different difficulties, starting resources, and even whatever is not combat required, making things clear and concise before you jump in. Citadelum is the game I can't just stop playing, and even if some of the mechanics, like being less than ideal, there is still part of me that wants to master them anyway. Citadelum is a city builder that goes above and beyond, and it's beautiful. And it's very, very beautiful and the easy recommend to anyone who loves a city builder or simulation looking for a change. This brings the city to the next level. And although some ideas feel a bit busy work, at the base of that's an exceptional simulation experience. Thank you so much. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.